So welcome back to Give Until Reads, where it's Sunday and it's the day after Duke completely imploded on themselves. I mean, you're up 90 seconds left. I mean, how do you lose that? I mean, just, gosh, that was terrible. But we're here now to talk about basketball. We're here to talk about my weekly wrap-up from this past week. An interesting week. Even though starting with a downer, I've got some good news. So let's dive right in and talk about books last week. So I read and finished two books last week. I finished Axe by Ed McBain, an 87th Precinct novel. I think it's number 18. And I finished book 13 in the second series, Mustang Man. Reviews will be forthcoming this week. I'm going to probably do another where I do one review, both books in the same video. And so be on the lookout for that. I also read three great short stories. I read The Typewriter by David Morrell, gave it a 4.4 for Saturday Shorts. I read The Last Seance by Agatha Christie, gave it a 4.1. And I read It's in the Book by Mickey Spillane and Max Allan Collins, a Mike Hammer story. I gave it a 4.6. Really, really enjoyed Mike Hammer. The really cool news is this week I was supposed to start this beast, and I haven't yet. I'm being honest, but I am going to start today. But I didn't start that because I've been saying I wanted to get this book done. I want to get this book done. And Bob from Robert G. Reader Books, you will be happy to know I finished it. Emperor of Rome. I really put my head down the last 3 days and just pushed through and got this book done. Now, I don't want that to seem like I pushed through because I didn't like the book. I liked the book quite a bit. For a nonfiction book, it was enjoyable and I learned a lot. And those are always, for me at least, what I'm looking for in a nonfiction book. And so I finished this, and so I'm very happy about that. This has been on... I've been trying to read this thing for a couple months now, and so I really pushed ahead and got this done. Learned a lot about different emperors of Rome, and I was talking a little bit with Carly about it on our kind of date yesterday. And so, yeah, I will have my kind of own video and give you my thoughts about that. I don't know if I'll do a traditional book review about it. I might just do kind of just a raw video and talk about my thoughts about this, especially when I get my notes down. I have different things I want to talk about. The various emperors I found interesting, just emperors in general during that time period in Rome and what I thought about them. There is some little cool tidbits that I really enjoyed that I want to share and just talk about Beard's writing and how this book is structured because I think it's well done. And so more to come on that. But in terms of overall rating with the books, I haven't given you the book review yet. My short stories and The Emperor of Rome, my average rating was a 4.2 this past week. So really good week. In terms of videos last week, I had 6. I had 2 live streams this past week. If you haven't checked those out, you definitely want to. I did the live stream with Rowdy. We talked about the Sword of Kaigan. I did the live stream with Logan from Novel Insights. We talked about Reacher Season 3, and that is on my channel. If you haven't checked that out, definitely want to check that out. I did a reshuffle of my TBR. I did Saturday Shorts. I did the book review for the Travis McGee and Bernie Rodenbar books. Really enjoyed them. And so it was a really interesting and productive week in terms of videos. I also am up to 38 people doing the Reading Ticks tag, which is really, really awesome. So nice segue into the BookTube community. I had a pretty down week in terms of the community. You know, usually I've got quite a bit. This week it seemed down, but in a good way. Like, it was manageable. I didn't feel like constantly I better go check comment. You know, like I was always like felt on, so to speak. And so it was nice. There was a lot of great engagement, great comments. And so let's roll right through them. Brian, MR Pronic 1, Jeff Lugal at Cave of Cool Books. Newer channel, you definitely want to check Jeff out. Faceless Book Reviews, Nicole's Bookish Nook, Storm Reed, Stuart Griffin, Ted Bredenstead, Maeve Ever Reading, Joseph Reads Books, Books with Blake, Novel Insights, Lou G, Bing Lamb, Adventures in Literature, Some Other Character, Marcelia Muses, Melissa Says Hi, Josh Dean 5449, Read by Fred, Already Overbooked, Rowdy Player 1, Beyond Books, The Chapter Conundrum, Patty Page, Must Read More, Just Dawn 6288, Twice Born by Grace, Stephen Everett 7, Book Chats with Pat, Ms. Michelle Zhao, Marcelia's Meanderings, Patty Reads a Lot, DJ Spunks 400, Carmen B, Virtual Sunny, Albert the Conjugator, Book Buds, Professor X, Pulp Mortem, Robert G, Reader of Books, Book Reviews with Becky, Duncan McCurdy, Lucas Lorenco, Gilbert Horn, Lens12, Idiot User Q2Z, and Armand Rosa Milia, who I believe is an author, but a newer subscriber. So, an interesting week, a very productive and solid week in terms of comments. So thank you all for your comments. I appreciate it all. And so dovetailing into comment of the week, I went with Brian from Adventures in Literature because when we were doing the live stream, Logan and I talking about Reacher Season 3, we after we kind of talked about what we wanted to talk about with Reacher and differences of book and the adaptation and episodes, we kind of talked about what's on the horizon, and it got into, and I think I asked Logan what was next for him, and I think Brian chimed in book tags and had like an evil emoji, which was just hilarious. And so I captured kind of a screenshot of that, and yeah, as you can see here, yeah, it caught me off guard enough. I'm like, yeah, that's, and I think I mentioned in the live stream, that's comment of the week material. So Brian from Adventures in Literature, you are comment of the week this past week. And so moving ahead, we're talking about BookTuber Spotlight. I have 3 channels that I wanted to spotlight this week. We're going to start with McNulty Book Corral. I've talked about Thomas multiple occasions on my channel, but I was going through my list of everyone that I talked about in the Spotlight, and I don't think I've talked about Thomas in my BookTuber Spotlight. And so McNulty Book Corral, Thomas McNulty, great channel. You learn so much. He has a huge inventory of books, comics. He has a lot of memorabilia. He's an author himself. I have several of his books. I'm definitely looking forward to reading and reviewing them, especially the Errol Flynn book that he sent me. He's a very kind gentleman. I look to him as a steward of our corner of BookTube, and he has a great channel. Anytime he has a video out, you're going to learn about something back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and earlier, and just a great amount of information and insight from Thomas. So definitely check him out. The next channel is Morgan at Booked Panda. Morgan, another great booktuber, pretty much underrated in my opinion. She has really great aesthetics and shelving and behind her in most of her videos, but she reviews thrillers, fantasy, sci-fi series, really interesting lady. She has great insights, really great aesthetics and quality of her videos. I enjoy her channel quite a bit. And then last but certainly not least is Peg over at the History Shelf. She has a very large channel, but reviews primarily new history, theology, historical fiction, military history, and other kind of subgenres of history. And so that is not a genre that I dip a toe in quite often, but I find her videos fascinating. I've always told you all, like, I find things that are outside of my comfort zone and difficult and stuff that I'm not, is not normal for me, interesting. And so I find myself on Peg's channel usually late in the evening, just checking out what she's got and listen to her talk about various authors and books that I'm not familiar with, but it's just very fascinating. She recently did a video about new and upcoming history books, definitely worth a watch. So check out Peg at the History Shelf. All 3 of these booktubers, fantastic, well worth your time. If you're not subscribed, definitely give them a look and subscription. In terms of upcoming reading, into upcoming reading, the big gorilla in the room is The Count of Monte Cristo. Obviously, I'm about 5 days behind. I'm reading this over the course of April and May, and so I plan to make up some headway this evening and in this week, listening to and reading this book immersively. I'm really have been looking forward to this. DG at the Colonel Mustard in the library and I are buddy reading this, and so I'm definitely looking forward to this. And then this week also, and I don't have it in front of me because I'm ill prepared and I'm working on moving stuff around, so it's kind of a mess in here. But I'm going to also be reading The Anubis Stone by Josh L. Dean, one of my subscribers who is an author. So I'm looking forward to that. It should be a pretty quick read, but I'm interested because I've never read one of his books before. So that's going to be on the docket, as well as starting Rising Sun by Michael Crichton. That's also going to be a book I'm reading this week. It has a buddy read with several gentlemen on the BookTube community that we're all reading this together. In terms of upcoming videos, obviously, I did this book haul today, but I do have another one that's coming along with my book review of The Sword of Kaigen is coming this week, along with Saturday Shorts, my weekly wrap up. But main thing is if you haven't saw the post I did, I am doing a live stream this coming Sunday, a week from today, at 6 p.m. Central, and it's kind of a roast. This is my thanks for 1,000 subscribers, so you definitely don't want to miss out your chance to come give me a hard time or ask me some interesting questions. That is going to be a lot of fun. I haven't picked out the topic that I'll probably kick off the video before. I'll kind of do it like Steve Donahue does, where I'll have a topic, I'll talk about it just in general, give time for people to come on and post questions or say hi, or, it's always a great time. And so I look forward to seeing you all there. Now's your chance to roast me or ask me a tough question, so don't miss out. In terms of upcoming works, I am still working on my library video. This past week, I was in the library meeting with the director there, had some questions for her, and I probably got some more that I'm going to email her. But I also was inside taking lots of pictures for the actual video. And so I'm really close to finalizing my thoughts and building the structure. I've got my outline done, and I've tweaked it a couple times, and I've gotten some ideas from other videos on YouTube as well of how to kind of structure it. And so I'm looking forward to putting it all together. And so that should be forthcoming late April, early May. I'm also working on a Why You Should Read video, as well as obviously we have the buddy read with Rising Sun. And I'm planning to get back into some Sherlock and Conan probably in May is where that's going to happen as well, migrating some of those in as well. I'm still trying to restrain from posting 7-8 videos a week and keeping it at the 5 or 6 mark. It's going to be hard, and I'm finding it difficult, to be quite honest with you, because there's videos that I want to get done that are important, but there's also the book reviews, which why I'm doubling up. I know James at Twice Born by Grace is like, hey, your videos are getting a little longer, and I'm trying to pack more in to keep the video count down, which is making them a little longer, and so that's the reason why. Last, but certainly not least, I wanted to talk about March, some monthly stats. I read 10 books in March, 16 short stories. I did 46 videos, hence why I'm trying to cut back. I gained about 120 subscribers, and I had just over 9,000 views in March. So it was a very productive month. And I want to talk about my top books for March and top short stories. And top books, Sword of Kaigen, The Lonely Men, and Blood on Snow by Joe Nesbo. Those were my top books in the month of March. My short stories, Funny Boy by John Grisham and Fawn by Joe Hill were my top 2 short stories, but in third place was Mage Killer by none other than Tim at Secret Fire Books. I really enjoyed that Saturday where I read all 5 of his short stories in his short story collection, Sand and Steel. And if you haven't checked it out, go on to Amazon and buy that, because it is a really worth your time, especially if you like fantasy. Really cool stuff. And so that is my weekly wrap up. A lot's going on. I'm definitely trying to get more accustomed to this pace and pulling back the reins a little bit. And I've caught myself on several occasions. And so it's still a work in progress, but we're making it work. Obviously, I'm moving stuff around. I've got another shelf, and I've kind of organized some things. And so a library kind of a tour will be forthcoming in the near term as well. So be on the lookout for that. I hope you have a great start to your week. Happy Sunday. Yeah, Duke, yeah. Anyways, I hope you have a great week. I'll talk to you later. Thanks.